behavioural issues, school closures, interruption of education, the list goes on. Joining me now to discuss the harms experienced, amongst others, her own daughter is author and researcher Julie Cook. Good evening, Julie.
Good evening.
Tell us, first of all, about what's prompted you to do this, your own child.
Yeah, my own daughter. So I've got two children, one 13 and one 9. And my 9-year-old daughter was 6 when the pandemic started, when lockdown happened. Mm-hmm. Before that, she was a very gregarious girl. She'd go up to anyone in a park, on the beach, if we were by the sea. She'd go and make sandcastles with somebody. She loved talking to other people, and within 10 minutes, they'd be best friends and cuddling and kissing, very tactile. Mm-hmm. Since then, so lockdown happened. Just as an example, 2 weeks ago, we were at the cinema, and there was one space between us and another family. And my daughter said, "Are we allowed to sit there?" And I said, "Well, yeah, it's fine." She said, "But the 6 feet, the 2 metres, is that okay?" And now she's 9, she's intelligent, she knows it's finished, but there's still that remnant of the rules, the laws that we weren't allowed to break, and she still worries about that. Mm-hmm. Another example is in a shopping centre, if we're walking around, she doesn't like the crowds. And before that, it was never a problem. So I noticed that in my own daughter and then started researching for an article about other parents. It's
so important because I've got 3. My youngest is 14, my eldest is 19, nearly 20, and I've got a 16-year-old son as well. And they've all been affected, without a doubt. And perhaps my youngest most affected for precisely the reasons really that you're talking about. It just sort of went in deeper and he was, more isolated. But I think it must be true of everyone. It must be true of every family. Every child has been impacted by this, and I don't think it's being discussed and almost owned up to enough. That all of our children have taken a hiding.
Exactly, and I think because when I was looking into this and talking to other parents, whether it's parents of very early years children or mid-year children or teenage children, every single one has noticed some kind of change, whether it's developmental, so in early years, speech delays, lack of empathy because they've not been mixing with other children, mid-years, like my daughter, she's 9, who are afraid to go up to new people, because they're not in your bubble. They know these different words as well, bubble, social distancing, masks, all these words that were in their lexic and that have stayed in their minds, I think, much more than we realise.
I think it's unforgivable. My son was GCSE age, 2 years of education. He's missed, and he was expected to sit his GCSEs without having had a single lesson in a classroom.
Yes.
And my daughter the same, and my daughter wants to stay in her room because she got used to doing that. I think it's unforgivable, and I don't know why it's been swept under the carpet. The effect on our children should have been made a bigger thing, except it's been muted. Be quiet about it, and we shouldn't be quiet. I'm glad you've done this article.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think, as you said, it's academic things as well. So it's like your son wasn't able to go into school, so that is a huge part of it, and that particular cohort was really badly affected academically. But it's also the socialisation. So my daughter, for example, is fine in the group she knows, but take her into a group she doesn't know, and there's that sort of reticence, and the fact that it was a law. I think children are very black and white. If you say you're naughty, you're bad, then they remember that. And if something's ingrained in law, don't touch that person, don't go within 6 feet of that person. Children it's very hard for them to forget that and suddenly switch it around. It's legal now, it's okay.